And now, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. We're talking about, hey, this is the Rhino Network Countdown to 2020. Check this one out. This is from, I'm assuming, Twitter, Dis Blue Skies, and that is DIS Blue Skies. Dis Blue Skies asks, I don't know much about the Huntress, but I'm curious, so I want to ask, best Huntress books that you read and why you think it's the best? It can be a solo or a group, and either Helena Wayne or Helena Bertinelli or both. Diane, you want to take that on?
Yeah, so for Helena Wayne, I always highly recommend reading the Huntress Origins because you get both her origin story there. You get her first solo story in Batman Family, in that collection as well, and also you get like literally the first 3 or 4 years of Helena Wayne's solo stories in the pre-crisis continuity, and that is always a great starting point with Helena Wayne because it establishes who she is as a character, what her values are, what motivates her to do what she does, how she feels about the legacy of her parents, and why she wants to be the Huntress. It also explores, what it's like for her to have a romantic relationship while as the Huntress, who was also part of the legacy of her father and her mum. So yeah, if you want to get a well-rounded understanding of Helena Wayne as a character, always start with the Huntress Origins. To get familiar with Helena Wayne as a Justice Society character, I always highly recommend reading All-Star Comics Only Legends Live Forever, especially the second half where she actually appears, because that establishes not just her first adventures with the Justice Society, but which relationships became important to her later on. And you especially get introduced to the Huntress and Power Girl friendship. And we will see the Huntress and Power Girl friendship again in Infinity Inc. numbers 1 through 12. And of course, I will always recommend America vs. Justice Society, not just to get, an entire look at, the JSA's entire 4-decade history, but you actually get to see Helena Wayne in action as a lawyer. In fact, we recently covered that one. And for the post-crisis continuity, before we get to post-crisis, I also highly recommend the Joey Cavalieri run of Helena Wayne's Huntress stories because, he offers a very different take on Helena, so he still stays true to the core of who Helena Wayne is as a character, as Paul Levitz, Joe Staton, and Bob Layton conceived her, but he kind of explores a different side of her character. He kind of explores, what if Helena Wayne was more complex, and what if, she felt more conflicted about, that her family legacy, So that's a very interesting take on Helena Wayne. For post-crisis, I always recommend JSA Thy Kingdom Come, and especially JSA Annual 1, which reintroduces Helena Wayne to the post-crisis, for the post-crisis continuity. And it especially reinstates her friendship with Power Girl, and it meaningfully explores why that friendship is important to both characters. For the post-Flashpoint continuity, I highly recommend reading the Huntress Origin. Well, not the Huntress Origin, sorry. Huntress Crossbow at the Crossroads, Huntress Crossbow at the Crossroads miniseries, which was the 2011 6-issue miniseries that, introduced her to the main continuity, because while she's there, using Helena Bertinelli's name, you actually see many of the classic traits of Helena Wayne reinstated into that character, but you also see her interpreted in a more modern setting. So the Helena Wayne character that appears in that story, in that miniseries, she's got the classic Helena Wayne Huntress personality, but she's also existing in a more modern decade. So that might be worth checking out for Helena Wayne.
And I have a couple of Helena Bertinelli recommendations. Of course, like we said, that original run in 1989 by Joey Cavalieri and Joe Staton. Fun stuff. I think that went from like issues 1 through 19 with some Justice League International specials in there. Of Like Minds, when she first joins the Birds of Prey, it starts at issue 55, but I believe Helena Bertinelli joins issue 56, volume 1 of Birds of Prey. And I would recommend like issues 100 through 110 Birds of Prey, because Helena Bertinelli is now established as what she's going to be in Gail Simone's hands. And I think this is the character that's how I think of her, where she's a tough cookie. She's softening up a little bit, but don't try her. And she's, Hearts Abula Haslich. She's soft but tough. So, and she does the wisecracks, but she can also, and this is also when like Black Canary leads the group, so she has to step up. She can't just be hardcore all the time. She has to show some leadership and show some heart. And I think that's what attracts me to the character. I like the fact that she has a tough background, that she's down to earth. She's vulnerable, but don't mess with her. I love that whole aspect of her. So those are my recommendations.